Call the meeting to order. Sorry about that. I'll give the invocation. I want to pray. Father, as we begin this calendar year, we ask for your blessing on our work here at the Board of Public Works. Help our board and the management team to use all the resources wisely and to make the right decisions. We pray that our actions will best serve the city of Hannibal, our customers, and the Board of Public Works organization as a whole. Please grant all employees of the Board of Public Works a safe new year. In your name we pray, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First thing we got is the consent agenda, assuming that the board members have read the minutes, payrolls, and claims. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Yes, I will make a motion.
I'll second. Okay. Next, we have comments from the audience. We have Mr. Alan Bowen.
Hey, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Oh, you're okay. It's awful cold.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for letting me speak. I wanted to speak last meeting, but got here a couple of minutes late after the rate hearing. So I have a couple of points that I chicken scratched on this piece of paper. I was wondering if you guys could have your meetings start at 5 o'clock every time instead of after the public hearing, and start the meeting potentially 20 minutes early, that kind of thing. And I didn't know if you guys could have meetings twice a month, potentially, because I know you guys' meetings are awfully long. So I didn't know if that maybe would help you guys out and actually give citizens another opportunity, because a meeting a month is an awfully long time to build up, anticipation to speak, I guess, especially when you missed the last meeting. So,
Alan, we have discussed that.
okay.
Me and Stefan have discussed that about the second meeting.
I don't know when that would be or how that would even work out, but just an idea.
Yeah, we're looking at it.
Yeah, everybody's very busy. But next thing, Mr. Jay Stowe, I guess I should say it, gave a report last meeting. I was wondering if that would be public at any time, that anybody could just...
The report is public already.
Already? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep. You can request it and we'll send it right over.
Sweet. Okay. Let's see. I seen on the agenda you guys are going to talk about maybe the general manager headhunting thing. You guys had posted it. Where all did you guys post it, or did you guys feel that would be better than doing having like the pace group like we did for our city manager to go out there instead of just kind of maybe putting it on LinkedIn, or I don't know how applications work or whichever, but
the general manager hiring process is started and ongoing. We elected not to go with a headhunting group because the cost was prohibitive based on our initial queries, and instead we went somewhat in-house with a name that we know and trust with Jay. He is helping us in that process. I wish I could speak more about it now.
right.
But we literally just started it, I think in the past 2 weeks or so, and picking up steam, and I'm actually going to learn a lot about it tonight. So when we know and make some tangible progress on it, we'd be happy to share that.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see. The water rate increase that you guys did last meeting, you guys do the 3.5% every 6 months, and then do the 7% to try to offset it and everything like that. Abe has mentioned that we haven't received any decrease in water usage from Rawls County because General Mills picked it up. So I was wondering if that would negate you guys from doing the next water increase, like the water rate. I think that'd be some good PR to not raise it one time, you know.
I don't mean to speak for everybody, so jump in if you guys want to. But Abe, I trust to be on top of that. And what he's mentioned is that not next time or the time after that, because we want to get this plant up and running
Right.
operationally. We're learning how the building process is going, but we don't yet know how to operate it exactly,
Right.
at least in a sustainable, cost-efficient way over a medium to long term. So I think we'd feel more comfortable making those sorts of decisions once we know that. Is that fair, Abe?
That's accurate. There were some accurate numbers that I had given to Danny for an article about some industrial customers that picked up part of the Rawls County
Right.
loss, but not 100%. We didn't receive two or so months of sales to Rawls County, which we had not anticipated. So that's a good thing. Like Stephen said, I could see us taking a couple of those extra rate increases off right at the back end of that process after we have some operational data and experience to go with.
Okay. The investigation that KHQA brought up, the 88 grand, is that done? Can you guys speak about, is there going to be any more investigation? Seeing articles on KHQA after just kind of blindly isn't, I guess, the best way. I don't know how to say it. Getting screenshots of articles that BPW spent 88 grand on investigation before council knows about it or anybody else knows about it. Is it over? Can you guys speak? I mean, sorry to put you on the spot.
I'll take it.
I'm
I
just
have a
asking.
feeling Lindsay's going to ask us this question tonight too, so we might as well just answer it. The investigation is ongoing. As we said in, I want to say August, double check me on that please if I'm wrong, but in August, we said we'd provide updates when updates are available. We haven't changed our word. Our word is firm, just the process is ongoing right now. We hope to conclude it as soon as possible. I can't give anything definitive. I cannot give anything definitive on the timeline, but I would hope and think that the beginning of the general manager hiring process might indicate some tangible progress in that situation.
All right. That's fair. At the end of, I got one more. At the end of your meeting, I think Bill maybe mentioned the 400 grand to fix the building or some sort of security upgrade. Is that going to be, I didn't see it on the agenda for this time or just kind of mentioned it. I don't.
That's a process we started on roughly a year ago. Hired CMT to do a building evaluation. They've done that evaluation and provided us an assessment, and they're now working through different alternatives to address the problem areas that they found during that assessment. So it's just still a process that is ongoing.
Okay.
Before we move forward, it'll be put before the board again, with our different alternatives and see which direction they would like to go.
All right. Can you speak on what those problem areas are, or it's still going, I guess?
I mean, their original assessment was everything from building security to running out of space. The potential of accidents, not only where our customers are interacting with our trucks leaving and coming to our building, in our warehouse, parking trucks in here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You got to wait and get this truck moved in first, and then before you can get the next one in, and so on and so forth. So it's going to look at different alternatives to address some of those situations.
Okay. I guess that's all I got.
On the building stuff, Alan, I think it's fair to say it was a total facilities report. So if it's in our building footprint or even on our property, it was mentioned in some which way, shape, or form. I think now we just have to weigh the pros and cons of each decision versus their importance and their cost. So it's a long-term conversation.
All right.
It wasn't meant to be a one-time $400 expense. Boom! All this is done. It's
Right.
It's a lot of.
I know
different
you'd only mentioned it like very, very quickly, so I was just asking. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to regular reports. General Manager and Operations Report.
Just wanted to give you an update that I spoke with the council after our last board meeting about the GAC project, and I'm on the agenda to provide an additional update again tomorrow. Prairie State, all-in capacity factor is 86%, roughly $63.30 per megawatt hour for the past 12 months. This comparative to capacity factor of 84% and cost of $65.52 per megawatt hour a year ago. So they are making increased effort to increase the reliability of that. However, I received an email this morning that one of the units was down last week due to a tube leak. The other one has been derated. We'll be going down, I believe, Friday for a 10-day outage to address a bearing failure that they're having. We've had a new hire. Ryan Adcock was recently joined the Board of Public Works as a CSR. He started today, so he'll be going through the training process, and then he'll be placed up front to interact with the public and whatnot. So, facility supervisor, we're still advertising for that position. Hopefully toward the end of the month, we'll look at what applications we do have and move forward. So, and as BJ alluded to here, is she posted the vacancy for the general manager's position on the 9th, and so it'll be out there for 30 days. Participated in the Toys for Tots. That seemed to be pretty successful this year. Joe Darnell was our employee of the month. He's our GIS technician. He's also stepped up and helped in several other roles where we needed help over the past couple months. So,
Thank you for supporting that Douglas Community Center. Thank you.
we submitted a letter to DNR on the stormwater because of us delaying the vote on the stormwater utility until November. There were some time frames that we were unable to meet in regards to the previous stormwater inspection. That letter was submitted to DNR after the last board meeting, but we still have not received any response back from them on that. There's also a table in here showing the number of volunteers, the hours, and the trash that we had collected over the past year. Overall, we had roughly 200 volunteers donating 928 hours and collected nearly 8 tons of trash.
That's amazing. Good job, Andrea and Matt. That's really
Very
outstanding.
That's Andrea coordinating that stuff. So
8 tons of trash. I have a hard time conceptualizing that.
Yep.
That doesn't include the nearly 200 tires in that weight, so it's pretty
Did you get any mattresses the last time or this time?
No mattresses this time.
We're still moving forward with Black and Veatch on the utility development. We got a conference call with him later this week, and so we keep that moving forward. Storm sewer maps basically at a standstill right now until we get additional help out in the field, verifying pipe diameters and confined space entry type work. So no storm sewer failures were repaired last month, nor did we find any additional ones. So
Out of curiosity, what's the river level at?
11 something.
Okay. Just heard on the national news about flooding, and I haven't been here for a couple of days, so I was curious.
No, it actually took a drop this weekend and on a rebound, but it's under 12 feet.
Cool.
So, electrically, this past month we had only a handful of outages, mainly squirrel related. Due to the holidays and the weather, there wasn't much field work went on in any of the departments. We were able to finish up our breaker installation at the Red Devil substation, so that was something we had on the plan for a while, and were able to get a contractor here to do that. So, or relay, excuse me. We had 3 leaks in the water system. None of them required boil orders. They were on 2 to 6 inch mains and nothing really major. So, sewer collection, we responded to the DNR letter, the inspection report. That was about the time of the last board meeting, with our finding or rebuttals to what they had found in their inspection report. And we've not heard anything back from them on that. So, you'll also see here in the sewer collection, over the past year, we did 44 CIPP point repairs, resulting in 118 feet of sewer main being rehabbed without having to excavate.
Wow.
We also did 12 excavations, replacing 428 feet of main. So, water treatment plant, we're running a little bit better than we did in December 2018 as far as production wise, and a little bit down from November of 2019. So, wastewater plant, pretty normal. Again, we did respond to DNR's inspection report and are awaiting their comments. Contractor came in and did the installation of the door necessary to perform maintenance on the bar screen. That was completed last month. And in-house crews also completed an electrical actuator bypass installation. That was something that after the bar screen was installed that the plant personnel would like to see happen, and that was something we were able to do in-house. We're continuing to implement the meters necessary for the testing of the new metering system. And then billing wise, let me get it here. We had 22 cutoffs due to non-payment the past month. So it's just something I'd like to keep bringing up in front of you, and that way you know what's happening out there. So that's all I got on the general manager's report, unless you all have questions about anything in the report or in addition.
Any discussion?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Moving on to the financial report, Mr. Abe Gray.
Good evening. The first page of your financial packet is the balance sheet. Restricted cash continues to decrease as we fund capital costs related to the water GAC project. There were no other major changes on the balance sheet. The next page of your packet is the current month actual compared to budget. December was a good month financially with favorable variances in the water and sewer funds. Net income more than offsetting an unfavorable variance in the electric fund. The warmer than usual temperatures in December contributed to electric operating revenues coming in under budget. This was mostly offset by lower purchase power costs and the receipt for reimbursement for storm relief efforts last fall in Orlando, Florida. In the water and sewer funds, operating revenues and expenses compared favorably to budget. All in all, is a very solid month financially. The next page of your packet is current month actual compared to the same month last year. Financial results for December were generally consistent with the same month last year, with all funds reporting slightly improved net results. The next page is the current fiscal year to date compared to budget. We are, of course, now 6 months into the new fiscal year, and company-wide net income is about 35% more than budgeted. Lower than budget operating revenues in the electric fund are being more than offset by savings and purchase power in that fund. The water fund continues to reflect the favorable results of 2 months of unbudgeted sales and the discounted early escrow payoff with Rawls County Public Water Supply District. The sewer fund's results are being positively affected by higher than budget operating revenues, more than offsetting higher than budget operating expenses. All in all, it's a very solid year financially and very much in line with our budget. I wanted to point out that company-wide operating revenues and expenses are both within 1% of their budgeted amounts. So my spreadsheet works for the budget model. Next page back is current fiscal year date actual compared to the same month last year. Company-wide net income is about 3% more than the same time period last year. Compared to this time last year, lower purchase power costs have more than offset higher operating expenses and lower operating revenues. The other information provided is the same as always. Of course, cash reserves, investment listing, and the dashboard. Kind of in summary, 6 months into the year, that's kind of a good benchmark. 35% more than budgeted, 3% ahead of last year. it's a good year to talk about. You guys have any questions or comments?
You obviously can't predict purchase power costs. Again, because if you did, you wouldn't be doing this.
Running a hedge fund and
Exactly.
have you working for me stuff.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that because we'd probably be making a lot of money. But on the cost side of things, things that might be a little bit more predictable, are you forecasting our positive trends continuing? Are you even comfortable making such an assertion?
Well, I have no reason to believe that they will not continue.
Okay.
Wholesale prices are down about 13%, I believe, for the first 6 months of this year compared to the same time period last year.
Okay.
I track that stuff every day. It's driven by so many variables, as you can imagine. Installation of renewable energy, fracking and natural gas, the economy. I mean, it's just weather. There's so many things that bake into that. I have no reason to believe it will not continue. Nor have we seen indication otherwise in the futures market, like the summer peak blocks we bought out ahead of time. So I'd like to see that trend. I'd like to expect that trend to continue. Of course, hesitant to make that statement too formally or definitively. But I don't have any reason to. I don't know, Matt, if you have any thoughts other than that. I expect trends to continue, Stefan.
If you keep being within 1% of budget, I'll be a happy guy. So
Well,
good job.
yeah, it's kind of funny. I deal in numbers that range from very small to very large, and then kind of to step back and look at that. Of course, that's company-wide, all funds kind of consolidated, but within it's like half of 1% on both operating revenues and expenses. Purchase power is varying by more than that, but anyway, it's kind of interesting.
That's outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abe.
Thanks, Abe.
Thank you. Moving on to project reports.
First project is update on the water treatment plant. You can see over there on the whiteboard there behind Drew, some pictures taken last week. The building's pretty much enclosed, some of it temporary, but they're able to get heat in there. So the electricians have been working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, trying to get all the wiring, all the electric wiring, all the controls wiring in. The masons were able to do the interior block wall that separates the sodium hypochlorite area from the rest of it. So all in all, it's going well. Plan would be to run some water through it first part of February. We've got a larger plant shutdown middle to later part of February where we'd actually make the permanent connection between the existing water plant and this new facility. So that is one of the last major hurdles that we have on the project as far as I see it. All the piping that connects this to our existing process after it goes through the filtration is complete. So we're on schedule at this point. We've talked with the GAC provider. We plan on having 4 vessels filled about the first part of March. We'll probably wait a couple of weeks in between filling those first ones and filling the remaining ones. So we will be operational by the end of March, but no means will everything be done at that point. So they're trying to do all they can do, but just Mother Nature and some of the delivery times kind of set them back just a little bit. So
How far behind are we?
based upon the weather days in the contract, I'd say they're probably a month behind. Based on precipitation and such, yes.
Alan, you took a tour of it recently, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks good.
Pretty wild how big the tanks are. The picture doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
They're huge.
You walk up to that thing and it's
I would hate to be the guy having to drive that in a truck here. Cool.
We're excited about it.
Your practice run, you said in February, so will you be running those through the tanks? You're basically gonna start feeding the water the way the new process will run? So will you run those through the tanks without media?
That's to be decided. We can bypass the tanks totally. We're going to have to do some disinfection of the tanks, and so that's where that water becomes necessary.
I just
So,
Make sure there's no debris in there.
yep. Make sure everything's cleaned out and everything passes, ready to go once we do get that media installed. So, Dime-Maker's tank rehab, we had a bid opening on the 10th of January. I got a new business item to discuss awarding that contract. Downtown SSO elimination project. Met with Jeff Kessner of Trek Design Group. They're working with us to help formulate a letter and packaging all the projects that we've done under that umbrella and provide that to the state in the hopes of them backing off us having to remove that constructed SSO, but only define when it's necessary to open it, because what we're finding is it's not a matter of the rainfall that we're getting in town that is causing us to use that SSO or constructed SSO, but it's the high river levels. And so we've spent it's considerable amount of money, trying to tighten up that system outside the flood wall so that those river levels don't impact us as much, but at what level is enough. And so that's something we're trying to establish with them and kind of lay out a schedule moving forward, since we're roughly 7 years into the 15-year time frame. So, and everything else we've either spoke about or we'll be discussing later on in the agenda. So
Cool. Any comments? Okay, moving on to old business. First one on the list is North Street and Martin Street storm sewer updates.
okay, Martin Street. We've had the PSBA has got the design completed. We've got the plans. We've got the specifications complete. It's mainly just waiting on funding source. And so once we give them the okay, they'd be able to turn it around, several weeks and get it out to bid. So that's where that one stands. North Street, last month I met with the FEMA representative coming to do the damage assessment. The river was low enough, we were able to get in there. He was able to take pictures and measurements that he needed for his report. So we're still waiting on, my understanding, we're still waiting on a comment from them on what will be funded, what won't be funded. I did get a packet in last Friday that I have to review from PSBA on the temporary repair. That would be installing reinforcing steel on the interior of the existing conduit or storm sewer pipe or archway, and coating that in shotcrete to hold the walls and the floor together. Should we have a flood event this year where we have to close that gate well. Rough estimate on cost on it's $50,000-$60,000. He's anticipating only taking roughly a couple weeks to get the project done, so we would get this out to bid in the next week or so, and then have it before you next month to approve.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to get that going
So
as soon as possible.
the problem has been up to this point is really the river hasn't been low enough
Right.
to even allow work to be done if we had it out to bid. So that's where those two projects are standing.
Okay.
Any questions? Or
Yeah, on Martin Street. I was told, and I've looked at that situation. Does that storm sewer run under anybody's home?
Nope, not
No?
along Martin Street. No,
It don't?
It runs
Not on
down
Martin
to-
Street?
Not on Martin Street.
Even where it crosses the street on the east side of Fulton Avenue? Does that run down east side, not behind the houses?
It doesn't. I think it goes down the west side of Fulton. May cross under a house after it gets to Fulton, but along Martin Street, it's out in the road.
Okay.
Road the whole length of it.
Okay.
There are several occasions, I think, there along Fulton that it may cross under somebody's house or garage, but nothing there on Martin Street.
Okay.
On North Street, what potential funding is there available, if any?
The first is what we got to see what reimbursement we'll be able to obtain from FEMA or the government there. And then I think there's some other options that Corey may have some more information on as far as picking up where FEMA money runs out. So.
I asked about FEMA last time. Is FEMA typically matching, or do they just hand it out like a settlement?
Just depends on what the state. My understanding is depends on what the state does, but in the past, I think FEMA's 75% or something like that. In the past, the state has picked up maybe a 10% match as well, so that we're still left paying for some of it.
Okay.
And again, that all depends on how they determine whether it was damage, whether it's mediation against future damage. I mean, so we just got to see.
There's a whole like box grid of eventualities and potentials that they have to fill out.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and there still is potential that maybe the Corps does some work around the toe of the levee that may
Save us some
money right there. I mean, they're not going to go all the way past Main Street on North Street, but they may come out 100 yards or 100 feet or 200 feet, which saves us some money. And so
this might be a dumb question. Is the Army Corps of Engineers known for timeliness, or are we going to be waiting for them, sort of deal? Okay.
I've not been through a project with them or FEMA before, so I can't speak to how.
Okay.
I mean, they both understand the need to do something prior to another flood event happening. But again, I mean, my experience with the government past hasn't been the quickest. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. More discussion? Okay, Abe, would you like to talk on the 2020 sewer revenue bond update? Thank you.
For the board's information, I want to share the most current timeline for the refunding of the 2013 sewer bond, which we're now calling the 2020 sewer revenue bond update. This is an important financial transaction. We discussed it last month. Estimated to save the ratepayers around $667,000 over the next 13 years, based on lower market interest rates and our higher credit rating in the sewer bond in the sewer fund. So we're eager to see this transaction come together. It's on pace. No action needed on this item. I just wanted to share with you, like I said, the time frame, and there are some special meetings and some meeting date slight modifications to our regular schedule that will be required further out, like in March. I think Matt will have you discuss later on in our meeting tonight. We have a meeting this week to prepare for the rating call, and with our financial advisor coming to on-site, that kind of thing. And, it's a team effort. Corey and his team have been helping us get some information together regarding key employers and different economic activity happening. City Hall has been very helpful. So it's a important transaction. I'll be glad to see it come together. That's all I have on that item. You guys have any questions or thoughts?
Any discussion? Okay, well, how about the 5-year capital plan?
Sure. The plan is presented to you is identical to what we had last month in the draft, with the addition of that demolition of the old south side tank, estimated cost of $50,000. That's been the only modification from the plan that you saw in draft form last month. We do, of course, we do ask the board approve the plan this month so we can provide to City Hall for planning and zoning purposes.
Good.
I don't know if you have any thoughts or any.
Yeah, I mean, questions. Mostly, so we have a replaced water line and then the service line replacement are each budgeted just forever. Is that, I'm assuming that's normal for cities of our age?
Yes, we have an aging infrastructure of many types.
Yeah.
Matt's much more prized on this, but we are trying to replace water mains as weather and staffing and different other activities permit. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I mean, water line have a lifespan of roughly 50 years, and we got stuff that's 100 plus years old, and so we've got roughly, I think, 140 miles. And in my 12 years that we've been here, we've replaced the length of Main Street and then a couple smaller sections, but we really haven't did a wholesale change, picked an area.
Can you quantify how many feet or yards $200,000 gets us?
It depends on location.
Okay.
I'm wanting to say, what was the length of Main Street was roughly $500,000.
Oh.
So it depends, whether you're under pavement, what other utilities are there, and what you have to work around, and sidewalks, trees, all that stuff makes for a more expensive replacement. So
Would it be fair to say that any wholesale change in that situation would require
a lot of
state or federal government help?
probably yes.
Okay.
We did do some new installation with the last water system bond with the SRF funding, but also, that budget number doesn't even touch what we need to be replacing on a yearly basis. So.
Okay.
So, are you asking for approval for that 5-year plan modification?
For the plan as a whole, the modification I was brought up because it's the only change from the draft that we
Okay.
presented last month.
Do I hear a motion for the approval of the 5-year plan capital improvements?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Duly approved.
Thanks, Abe.
Thank you. Okay, U.S. Cellular Agreement.
This was an agreement that we originally approved, some form of it back in September. After that was approved, they had requested some modifications to it, and so after we worked with them, got those modifications completed, wanted to bring it before you all again for approval. This is just similar to the pole attachment agreement we approved for the telecommunications back, I think, in July timeframe. That was specific to the telecommunications and not the cellular realm. So this would be addressing their need to place attachments on our poles where they see fit. So.
Okay.
Any, see any problems with that?
We seem to have gotten everything pretty much worked out. And
It's been quite a lengthy process.
Okay, good.
It took us a while to get the first one, and then your lawyers seen something they wanted to change.
Yeah, I seen that
We went through.
master license going back and forth.
Yeah.
Drew,
Okay.
did you get us a good deal?
I will not make any warranties to the work of James, but I
Okay, so we're asking for a motion for that,
Motion
right?
and approval,
Do I hear a
yes.
motion for approval of the modified U.S. Cellular Agreement?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to new business. Die maker tank rehabilitation. Matthew?
yes, Diemakers tanks, elevated tanks located out here on Highway MM behind Spartan. It was constructed in 1996. Since that time, we've really not done much to it. We inspect it yearly on the interior, and then about every 5 years we wash it out so we can get the full assessment of the interior condition. It's the next tank on the list of tanks to be rehabbed, sandblasted totally on the inside and repainted, blast off the loose stuff on the outside and repaint the exterior. They're also going to do some proposing to do some modification to the top of the tank to allow antennas to be attached to something other than the handrail, and also reattach a ladder that goes from the bottom of the bowl out the side manway up to the balcony. Apparently, at some point in the past, we had some ice in that tank, and that ice had ripped that ladder actually off the side of the tank to the point that we had to have a contractor come in and go up there and weld the hole that it created. So we put this out to bid about the end of November. We got 3 bids back on it. The low bid was $263,510 from Hogan's Incorporated out of Van Buren, Missouri. The project itself came in a little over what we had budgeted. but it's something that we need to do. And so in talking with Abe and the financial position of the water department, at this point, we'd like to go ahead and move forward with it.
Cool.
We'd have the tank out of service. Total project of 60 days. We're hoping only approximately a month or so that we would be without the use of the tank. So because it is the only tank in that pressure zone, we are bringing in some
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
temporary storage to help take pressure fluctuations out because the hospital especially is sensitive to that stuff.
Oh, yeah,
So-
yeah.
Abe, I do have a quick question. It says the cost to rent these tanks for up to 60 days would be an additional blank dollars.
I forgot to put it in.
Okay.
So what's blank?
About $30,000.
Okay.
I was waiting on a call back and I forgot.
No worries. I'm just curious.
Got to put it in there.
Blank.
Cool.
Okay.
So overall, 300,000 is what we're estimating that we can complete the project for. So that includes the tank rental.
Cool.
And we'll work with the contractor to limit the need for those storage tanks. So
This is the first time we've done anything to it in a quarter century.
Okay.
yeah, we
Okay.
just completed the Warren Barrett tank last fall, and so this is the next one.
Cool.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the lowest bidder, which would be Hogan Company?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Oakwood Southside Substations.
What you have before you is a proposal from BHMG to do the design and construction management work for the interconnect between Oakwood Substation and Southside Substation. It is the last connection we need between our substations to give us a full ability to feed any of our substations from two different sides. This will allow us to feed everything from the Marion side or the west sub side. So this is something that the construction was in the 5-year plan. It's in the next fiscal year, but we'd like to go ahead and move forward with the design so that we can hopefully prevent any time delays due to permitting and such. We do have to cross the railroad, which in dealing with them, you're dealing with them on their time, and so we'd like to go ahead and move forward in that way, hopefully prevent any delays in the future. So,
Great.
Okay.
total cost on that would be $195,000,
I saw that.
and you can see there on the second page of their proposal what that breaks out to be. So, and not all it would be this spring. So we'll spread that out over the life of the project.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a quick question for Jared. For the easement and route planning, is that purely planning, or are they going to do any of the negotiation for us?
That is purely going through and making sure that all the easement is on city. This route, most of it's going to be in the city right away.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of fiber down through both sides.
Okay.
And so there's going to be a lot of planning of that, going underneath roads and driveways and that. I can get clarification on the way that it was worded, if there's actually going to take care of all the easements, or that I can get some clarification on that.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Here it says easements acquisition to be handled by HBPW agent. So
Okay.
I'd say that would not be included.
I thought that was at the end.
Okay. So you're asking for a motion on that then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do I hear a motion to allow the BHMG to provide a design package for the Oakwood substation?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I do have a question for Jared before we move on, though.
Sure.
We talked about this about 2 years ago, and I could not remember the answer. I had a neighbor ask me about the half poles that are still left in any mounds.
We are currently working that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Cool, okay. I knew a pole got hit up there recently, and I saw some work done there, but
Sure. And I was, whenever we had a board meeting, I could bring a presentation to you, I was bringing a presentation to you guys. I had a guy go and had some other poles.
Oh, we're moving to the following day, not the following.
Throughout all the poles, he assessed all the double poles, what I call them attachments, if it's cable TV or if it's telephone. Cable TV is much more easy to get a hold of than AT&T. We recently just got a hold of a telephone, so I've got a list of probably 400 of those that they need to get off of, change. It's an ongoing problem throughout the nation.
Sure.
Because nobody wants wires anymore, they all want wireless. And all these older systems are kind of getting neglected, and you know how that goes, right?
I will let them know that it's the process has started.
It has started.
Are we good? Okay, travel authorization for the APPA legislative rally. Matthew, going to go on a trip, huh?
Yeah, as part of the requirements of the general manager is to seek approval of the board to attend training outside of here. So we've spoken before about the APPA legislative rally, which will be at the end of February. And so I'm just seeking your all's approval to attend that event.
Who all's going?
Jared's
going this time?
Stefan, and Councilman Dobson.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion for travel authorization for the APP legislative rally?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. We're going to talk about set the future meeting dates and times.
Yes. There's some coming up meeting dates that are pretty important as they pertain to the bond refinancing, and also with the first meeting being our next scheduled board meeting is on February 17th, which is a holiday. And I didn't know your all's pleasure on what you wanted to have it that day or you wanted to move it. In the past, it had been moved to the Tuesday following, which would have been a council meeting date. So they've held it earlier in the day, so that the council could attend both meetings. Or
You got a presentation on that date?
I don't know if I do or not yet. Probably.
Okay.
But so I just wanted to see what your all's pleasure was on when if you wanted to move it or.
Yeah, since the staff is off, I think we should move it.
Okay. Move it to Tuesday, earlier in the day.
I mean, that's what's been done in the past. We can do whatever you all would like to do. So
That's fine with me.
Okay.
What time would you suggest for that?
4 o'clock.
You want to go 4? Will that give you time in case you have to
I
go?
mean,
city
council meeting's at 7, so
Oh.
would that be 4 o'clock be enough?
Okay.
Good for us.
Okay, 4 p.m.
It's the 18th.
Yes.
Yeah, Tuesday 18th.
Got to adjust my calendar so I know when to show up.
Okay.
It's a real concern.
Anything going on in March?
Yes, the second one would be Joey Howard, our financial advisor, had requested that we have a special meeting on March 3rd to authorize the bond sale. This would be right before it would go to council for first reading. And so I wanted to know if you want to go ahead and schedule that special meeting.
Sure. What time do you do that?
That meeting would be rather short, so I mean, we could do 5 o'clock.
Okay. 5 p.m.
So March 3rd, 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Is that all you have?
And then the third one would be the March board meeting. It's presently on schedule for March 16th. However, Ms. Howard had requested that we have a special meeting on the 17th to approve the sale. I mean, to approve the results of that bond sale prior to going to the council that meeting that night. for second reading of that sale.
Okay.
And so in the past, instead of doing a board meeting one night and then having to come back for a second meeting, just to go ahead and do the same, move the board meeting to the same day as the city council meeting. And I guess my recommendation would be 4 p.m. that day as well,
4 p.m.
since it would be a full board meeting.
Okay.
So we're moving, just to confirm, we're not adding, we are moving from Monday to Tuesday?
That is correct.
Okay.
That was what you done on the water, am I correct?
Yep.
The same thing, yeah.
Sorry, Alan.
Is that it on the, you want to talk about the Grain Belt Express?
Yep. On the Greenbelt, just wanted to kind of bring you up to date on what's going on with it. There been some, it got PSC approval, and so then there was a legal issue with it. They came out and got the approvals they needed out of that legal issue. Got contacted by MPUA a week and a half ago that there's legislation that is pending in both the House and the Senate in regards specifically to the Greenbelt line being constructed. All three of the bills center around the use of eminent domain by a private entity. And so they went through, all three of them went through committee last week. And so I just wanted to bring you up to date that is occurring. So
Yeah. Republican Jim Hanson's championing that.
on the House side,
Out of Frankfurt.
there's two bills. One's by, I don't remember who the first one was by. One was by Senator O'Laughlin here.
Solon, S-O-L-O-M, something like that. Did I get that right? Solon.
I only know Cindy is doing one of them.
Senate Bill 597 is sponsor is Brown, and then Senate Bill 604 is by Senator O'Laughlin.
Danny, please write about this. This is a project that will save
Us about $750,000 a year.
which is code for keeping $750,000 a year in the hands of our customers. And our state senator and one of our local representatives are fighting to stop our customers from saving that money.
So that's pretty much all I have on that. So
Cool.
Any more discussion on the Greenbelt? Okay, any comments from the city attorney?
Not an open session.
Okay. Okay, you want to go ahead with the, go into closed?
General discussion.
Yeah, is there any general discussion?
I have no general discussion.
Pursuant to section 610.012, paragraphs 2, 3, and 12 of the Missouri Sunshine Law, the meeting shall convene in closed session to discuss real estate, personnel, and contracts. Included would be the board and Abe, Matt, Courtney, Jay, Drew, Michael, Beverly, the mayor, and the
Brian, Ron, Jason, Joe, and Tom.
there you go.
Okay, we hear a motion for adjournment?
I get a second.
Oh, you want a second on that, yeah? Do I hear a motion for that?
I
Closed
make the
session.
motion. Bill made the motion.
Okay,
I'll
that's
second
right.
it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Well, the meeting adjourned.
No.
No?
No, into closed session.
Oh, into closed session.
Close
Okay.
it, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.